Hey guys, welcome back to Astrological's Racing. Man, it's been a while since we've been back with a YouTube video, a couple of weeks here, and what better way to start everything off with the brand new ASSETTO CORSA COMPETIZIONE at Nordschleife. Now, this is one of the most highly anticipated tracks to ever hit ASSETTO CORSA COMPETIZIONE. I know that it's been in development for a very, very long time, and we've all been super excited to try this track, and I'd be lying if I wasn't in the bandwagon of anticipation for this to drop. But long story short, I actually did do a few laps with this track, and I've been testing out multiple different types of cars with this, all the way from starting with the GT2 Porsche to the brand new GT2 Maserati, that by which is absolutely my favorite GT2 car. I thought the Porsche was my favorite, and I think the Porsche is actually a little bit quicker, but when it comes to maneuverability, sounds, and just the overall way it handles turns, I really love the Maserati GT2. Today, we're actually driving the Ferrari 488 Endurance Evo 2. So this actually is a 7-speed. And the really unique thing about this one is I feel like this is designed for super high speeds. And this, along with many of the other GT cars, I really love the way this one sounds. Most particularly when you're revving up the RPMs and then going off and letting off the gas just a little bit, you can really hear that turbo spool. And it sounds so unique in the Ferrari, that it being just so freaking fast. Alright, and here we are. We're finally getting to the main track. Now, one drawback of this that I noticed, and this is not really a drawback, but there's only one version of this track, which is perfectly fine, but a lot of us really like to start at the beginning of the twists and turns, and this is really the meat of the entire track to really get your heart pumping. There we go, almost completely wiping out there. But this is one of my favorite parts of the track, where you can really dial in some of these apexes. Now, one thing that I noticed in accordance to some of the other sims out there is that you really can't move too quickly through these areas, because the suspension is super buoyant in every single one of these cars. So it's not like you're really gripping the ground as hard as you normally are in some of these other sims. So I actually feel the suspension. There's a buoyancy inside of the tires when you hit these curbs, and the curbs are just so well designed in this. And I was telling another guy this on one of my posts the other day, is that I think it was last night. He's like, man, you know, they really did a really good job. I think it was all 3D laser scan and all that. And I said, yeah, it absolutely is. So the way they design these tracks is not just oh, I'm going to go on Google Maps and print off this track and hopefully it looks good. Like, that's how they used to do it. But they're actually using this technology of DSLR cameras and physically scanning them with extremely high resolution images, where you can actually go watch Misha's live reaction video. Now, as a lot of you guys probably do follow Misha, he is an avid driver for this track. I would say he's probably the best driver on the Nordschleife that I've ever seen, at least the most passionate. And on his channel, and he even posted this on his Facebook, he did a live reaction of him doing it on his racing sim simulator, and he compared it to a real life scenario, giving him live thoughts and feedback. And he said this was about 98% accurate, which is absolutely mind-blowing. 98% accurate, coming from a guy who actually races this every single day, that really says a lot. And I don't know about you guys, but I'll take that for everything it's worth. And so if it can get that accurate with a real guy that races this every single day, how much better can you get? So here we go. And as you guys can see, we're actually getting through trees. And one thing I've really noticed is that they really nailed the sun glare and how everything reacts inside of the cockpit here. As you can see, the Philips Hue lighting is doing an excellent job with its atmosphere lighting up my cockpit. And as we go dark, there we go, you got a perfectly balanced atmosphere once again. One thing I do want to do is possibly on some of these other cars and the roll cages, I want to match maybe the colors, maybe make two sets of maybe a color of like gray and then a color of white. I mean, it would be super simple to swap out. Yeah, let's keep riding here. All right, and we are officially halfway through. There we go. Finally decided to hit the wall back there. I know I'm not a perfect driver, and I do not, absolutely do not claim to be by any sort of means here. So as we go through the longest portion of this track that you can really reach some serious speeds here, as we round this corner, this is one of my favorite corners to really start some of my videos because you get that sun blinding right in your face, nearly crashing back there. But also this dynamic with the trees and the sun cutting through like that, it just creates this crazy, amazing atmosphere. And you notice I like to talk about atmospheres a lot, but that's what really brings immersion inside of these sims here. So this is a pretty defining moment for a portion of the track, and if they nail this, like Misha even said, this is one of the most accurate portions of the track. It says it's not too fast, and it's not too slow through here. He says it feels really, really accurate to the actual real-life model, to what he races every single day with some of these different cars that he's able to drive. And here we go, rounding out these next few turns here. And really trying to be careful through here. I was actually driving in the rain yesterday, and I got the tires a little bit too far ahead of me, and I did spin out a few times through here. Now, I did try this on iRacing, and a couple guys told me to do as well. I would say this feels very accurate. I think the curbs are a little less detailed than iRacing, and then the grip on iRacing does feel a little bit more grippy, I guess you could say. And this one feels a little bit less. Now, I think that would have to do a lot with tire pressure, as some guys were saying. If you keep it around 27 or 28 PSI, and I think that by default, here we go, nice little crash. I think I'm sitting right there. I shouldn't have spun out. It has to do a lot with my tire pressure, which I just kept at a default setting. But if you keep them around 27 or 28, from what I've heard, and I have to test this out still, it really, really helps out with the dynamics, your control, your stability, the buoyancy in your tires. And I wanted to stress that again. With these curbs and how the suspension reacts with this track, I can really feel, and I don't know how to explain it any better, but through the wheelbase, there we go, nice little crash there. I can really feel how the suspension is reacting with the road, the tires. Yeah, this is a pretty major crash, and I just decided to keep going here, and I just as far as I possibly could. And as you guys can see, the steering wheel is completely messed up. I can't even drive straight without it. I can't even put it back to straight. Here we go. We're going to attempt to finish this track out. But as I was saying with the tire pressure, if you keep that around 27, 28 PSI, it should help out your stability and control just a little bit more. And if you keep them too low, I feel like you won't have as much control over these turns, especially on Nordschleife, it being so bouncy at some points at high speeds. It can really throw off the whole dynamic of everything here. And we tried, and we tried to get through it, but obviously it's not possible. And that'll be it. You guys have a kick-ass weekend, and until next time.